And I am live talking about movies once again. The Smashing Machine. Be advised, be aware. I will be spoiling everything from start to finish. So if you have not seen, go watch it. It's a very enjoyable movie. And come back here and hear about what I think of that movie. And just before we really dive deep into it, this movie is compared to titans like The Wrestler and The Iron Claw. Now, before I really get into it with full spoiler, well, um, I will say, I will say, this movie is not as good as The Wrestler or The Iron Claw. It's still very enjoyable. So yeah, let's get into that movie. And because I will most likely be alone, we will do the new formula, which consists to take a look at the Smashing Machine uh, plot, and then we will get into the famous Rottentomato people and my review. So this is the new format. So let's get into it. I will be screen sharing what I will be using. Let's do this. Ironclaw is better than the wrestler, I'd say. Ironclaw was very, very emotional. Um, so again, if you enjoyed the wrestler, if you enjoyed the wrestler, you should watch the Ironclaw and maybe the Smashing Machine. For once, Dwayne Johnson can actually act. I was kind of shocked. So let's get into the plot. Again, full on spoiler. Let's do this. And I will also timestamp everything as usual. As usual, we need timestamps. It's the best thing, right? So when someone watch the playback, there it is. Timestamps. Let's get into it. The film begins with an interview of Mark Kerr, who explained to the interviewer of his success in ultimate fighting before he leaves for his next bout. If I remember correctly, and I've seen it Friday, during that scene, the music just buried the dialogue, and that was painful to listen to. As much as the music was cool, I think during that dialogue early in the movie, the music was just too loud, and that's the thing that happens a lot in that movie, and that pisses me off so much, especially when you have very important intel. Um, like another movie that did that in my recent memories was Oppenheimer. That movie was guilty of that trap. Anyhow, let's keep going with the plot. In 1999, where Mark is at home with his girlfriend, Dawn, whom he has a complicated relationship with. I will add a very toxic one, and that's a foreshadowing to my review. Mark scolds her lightly for making a bulking shake incorrectly, but then apologizes. He prepares for a fight while being coached by Mark Coleman and stumbles in and out of substance use while meeting Japanese official regarding his pay, which displeases him. And that's a big thing about that movie, substance use. And that was a thing with the Whistler as well. And if I remember correctly, Iron Claw also dressed it, but I'm so rusty on Iron Claw. Like I've seen it when the movie came out 2 years ago, so it's very far away. But I think that's a trend with that type of movie with sports drama and all. So let's keep going with that. Mark sits in his locker room under the influence when his girlfriend Dawn has a major argument with him. After losing his latest fight drastically, he quietly leaves to his locker room and begins sobbing. Back home, his relationship with Dawn is further strained and he overdoses the next morning. Coleman visits him and tells him that he needs to change, which Marks agrees with. He enters rehab, which stains his relationship with Dawn, eventually resulting in her leaving Mark, leaving to camp with Bass Rotten. Mark does extremely well under the coaching of Bass, getting into peak shape and winning his first fight. He eventually reconciles with Dawn, which, to the dismay of Bass, result in Mark leaving camp. Mark and Dawn later have a falling out over her hedonistic habits, resulting in Mark breaking up with Dawn and asking her to leave. A distraught Dawn has a self-delete attempt to remain YouTube friendly, resulting in her going to care. In Japan, a distracted Mark loses his next fight brutally as he has flashbacks of Dawn and other moment in his life and career. So that part of the plot was amazing. These are based on real people. I think they are, but based on what I heard from Gray about Iron Claw, they added a lot more for the movie to work. So it's inspired, but they took liberties. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Smashing Machine also took some liberties. I don't know about the wrestler. That's the one I know the least. I still enjoyed the wrestler a lot, but that one is even older. Like, it's a long time I haven't seen it. I think I've seen that movie like 3 years ago. Wow, time flies. But yeah, I think these are based on real people, but again, we take a lot of liberties. But again, to get back to the plot right now, I feel like that full climax with the second loss and the breakup was amazing. That was probably the best parts of the movie. But yeah, let's get into the ending of the plot. Coleman eventually wins the 2000 Grand Prix, while Mark receives stitches. He sits in the shower, smiling and laughing before it cuts to the present day, where Mark, now older and much smaller, shops at a grocery store. It is revealed that Mark and Dawn got married 11 days after his loss at the 2000 Grand Prix. He retired in 2009, and while mostly unknown today, is one of the biggest pioneer of the MMA world. Um, that movie is bombing really hard, unfortunately. Budget 50 million and box office 6 million. It's sad. I Is it peak entertainment? Is it one of the best movie there is? I don't think so, but it deserves more. It's a bit unfortunate. The cast: Dwayne Johnson as Mark Keir. Keir also plays himself in the ending scene. Makes sense. Emily Blunt as Dawn Staples, Ryan Balder as Mark Coleman, Bass Rutten as himself, Alexander Yusik and Igor Vozvanchi, Lindsay Gavin as Elizabeth Coleman, Satoshi Ishii Ansuninu. Oh, now we enter the territory of all of the Japanese, and it's a nightmare to try to pronounce these names. Wendy Moore as Jacqueline, Nick Torren as 1997 photojournalist. Well, here we are. That was the plot. Again, I think it's quite a good movie. It was enjoyable. And let's get into my review. Let's get into it. I think, again, it was a very fun movie. Is it the best thing there is? I don't think so. But it was fun. I had a very good time. So let's get into my issues. As usual, my first issue, one of the first big speeches, had really bad sound mixing with the music. The music buried what sounded like important information. My second issue, somewhere in the middle of the movie, the pacing wasn't great. Runtime of the movie was 2 hours and 4 minutes. It could have been trimmed down to like 1 hour 40 or 1 hour 45. And I think parts of what happens really early in the movie is important, and the entire third act is very important. So I think some aspects of the second act were lacking, and maybe also parts of the first act. Again, I think the ending itself worked very well. It's really somewhere in the middle slash early part of the movie that took some time, that could have been more trimmed and better made. Now, my third issue, just like the first issue, once again, later in the movie, we got a bad sound mixing with the music uh, burying dialogue. So the music, once again, a second time in the movie, buried dialogue. And I hate it so much. Sometimes when you want to convey information, or what I should say, sometimes when you want to tell a story, and when you want music, I don't know what's going on with me. When you want music, sometimes you want to express an emotion, you want to express a state of mind, and it's kind of cool. Sometimes it's fine if music bury dialogue, if the point of your music is highlighting something with your story or characters. But in this specific case, why? I didn't see the reason, and it buried very important information. And when movie do that, hold the movie accountable. That being said, these were my three issues with that movie. Let's get into the likes. The music and characters were fun. The main relationship throughout the movie was showed very well to be toxic, and it was fun to witness that, and the slow burn and the collapse of that relationship. Surprisingly enough, Dwayne Johnson finally did something different, and that felt refreshing and fun. We need him in more drama, to be honest. I'm so tired to have him like always that tracking joke guy that's funny and stupid. That serious Dwayne Johnson actually made me feel things throughout the movie, and we need more of that. The main character being overly confident made sense since up to his first defeat, he accumulated 8 wins in a row. The story being about him breaking apart because of that first loss was really cool. So again, I think the start was really good, but really somewhere in the the middle, somewhere in right after that loss, it stretched on for too long. The action was entertaining, the set design and costume were fun. The lore around the sport was well addressed. The third act and ending were amazing. Nice theme of addiction and self destruction behaviors. The main characters only opening up to his friends made sense. A lot of guys, they are too proud. They don't want to share the struggle with the girlfriend, and that can be a strain on a relationship. We have seen it in full display in that movie. The second loss of the lead did subvert expectation, and it was crushing because you're like, the big climax of the movie will be like Dwayne Johnson against his friend. But no, it doesn't happen. And that's surprising. And that's actually good because I think we would have missed the point of that movie. That movie was really about the drama and not necessarily about the action. So I think subverting expectation there worked very well. And I don't know how it would have gotten, to be honest. They fight each other off. One of them loses at the other expense. That could have been very sad, but also interesting. So, regardless of the way they chose, I think both cases would have worked. The one we got, I liked it. I liked it. It didn't place our character in a very hard spot. The hard spot was after the loss. Um, so again, I think I like that drama a lot. And I will repeat what I said. I think the wrestler is better. I think the Iron Claw is better. But that movie is not bad. Maybe that movie falls a bit behind, but it's worth your time. Now let's get into the next segment, being the Rotten Tomato segment. Let's do this. Rotten Tomato segment. There we go. I will also timestamp this. So as usual, we are very quick when we are alone. In case you missed it, go watch one battle after another. Okay, there we go. Screen sharing. The usual thing, the first comment. You don't have to be an MMA or sport in general to engage with the characters. Watch it for the human drama and the fine acting. I agree. And that person gave a 3.5 out of 5, which is a very decent and enjoyable grade. The kind of film that forces audience to wrestle with what exactly we want to see from these kind of narrative, tragedy, or triumph. Safdie offers both and neither. Well, there's tragedy and there's triumph because he beats addiction, and there's tragedy because the relationship collapsed but built back up together, and there's tragedy because there was a lot of self destruction. So I don't know, but so that person gave it 3 out of 4, so that's like 75, which is good. Having established its central for some, the film doesn't take them anywhere in particular, but its sharp showcase of Johnson's remarkable physical transformation and his acting chops. So I'm not the only one that actually notices Dwayne Johnson should do more roles like that. Um, it's a soulful meander in search of reason to go to do the math. I don't quite understand, but hey, 2.5 out of 4. Interesting. Disliked ending. Movie dove into Mike's life only while he fought and lost too much. Why or when did his manager fight and look like all he did was manage Mike? Then comes from nowhere a wins. Interesting point, but I think that point highlights, as much as I understand where he's coming from, and that win there doesn't feel maybe earned. I think the point of that movie was mostly the drama. So I don't know, spending more time with the friend for him to earn his win. I don't know. The pacing I already feel was lacking. I don't know how I feel about spending more time about fights. Again, I get what he is saying. I don't think it's fully wrong, but I don't agree. And I feel like maybe the person may have missed the point of the movie. It's not necessarily the action. It's really the drama. Great acting in movie, 5 out of 5. And the other one was a 4 out of 5, which is still very high. The movie itself is okay. I am a little bit familiar with Care, but I believe they couldn't put too much Hollywood storytelling because they want to stick to the truth. That being said, the acting was okay, I guess, maybe, I don't know. Very well done biopic of Trailblazer Mark Care. Okay, so I guess people liked it. I am not crazy. For once, I am not crazy. So, I just realized my review didn't have a proper grade. So my grade for this Smashing Machine is a 8 out of 10. When it comes to movies that came out this year, I think that one was quite in the top part of the middle. Now, if you've seen my other review about One Battle After Another, I liked this movie more. But again, I think overall that's a good movie. So I'd say that movie is a fun one, and go watch it. I feel like I repeat myself a lot, but that's how I feel about it. What did you think if you watched this playback and you've seen the movie? What did you think of that movie? Is it on par with Iron Claw or the wrestler? Let me know in the comments. And with that being said, we are out.